Been watching on the Joy News channel. Now the dust has barely settled after a German captain was arrested for forcing her vessel into the Italian port of Lampedusa with migrants she had rescued, well against Italian laws. She was freed, but barely a week after that incident, another German rescue vessel has picked up over 40 migrants off the Libyan coast, breathing new life into the immigration crisis as it once again becomes the center of the political debate in Europe. Thomas Sparrow, the political correspondent with our partners DW, joins us in our usual crossover to Europe. Hello, Thomas, and welcome to The Pulse. Tell us.
Always nice to be with you. Hello from Berlin.
Okay. Tell us how the second incident happened.
Well, it's not only one second incident. I think this has to be seen in a bit broader way. What we've seen in recent days, what we've seen in recent weeks is more and more private vessels, mostly led by NGOs, that have been rescuing migrants who have been trying to cross the Mediterranean from Libya. This is something that, by the way, also happened before. The difference now is that these are all in the news, and that has to do with the fact that some countries that normally have bore the brunt of the migration crisis have decided that they don't want to welcome any more migrants. In particular, we're talking about Italy and its Interior Minister Matteo Salvini, who had announced that he would not allow these ships to dock in Italian ports, that he would actually fine them. And what we heard, you mentioned it already, the case of that German captain, Carola Rackete, who a few days ago decided to, despite those rules by Italy's government, she decided to dock in the Italian port of Lampedusa, and she is now under investigation. Since then, other vessels have rescued migrants as well, and have taken them not to Italy but to Malta, the tiny island nation. And what has happened there, they have been received, but Malta wants these migrants to be redistributed throughout the European Union, which is, as you know, a very big problem and one that European leaders haven't been able to resolve.
This is the second time in about 2 weeks that a German rescue ship has been involved in this matter. How is this affecting Germany's relationship with other European countries, especially Italy?
It has certainly affected Germany's relation to Italy, but if you look at it from the other side, it has affected Italy's relation with most European countries and with the EU institutions as well. There is this debate as whether that is the correct way to approach this, by, for example, closing the Italian ports, or whether there is a humanitarian responsibility to try and rescue people who are at sea. That is sort of the essence of the debate here, and there are different positions when it comes to this. The Italian Interior Minister and also some far-right groups, for example, here in Germany, believe that these vessels, these rescue vessels, are not actually helping migrants, but they're actually promoting migration in a way, because they are actually promoting people trying to come to Europe, and knowing that if they venture to the sea, they would be rescued by these boats and taken to the EU. That's the vision on one side of the political spectrum. Obviously, there are many people who are against this vision, who think that there is a humanitarian responsibility to deal with this, that people should be rescued irrespectively of political discussions. And that is something that has obviously played out here in Germany, in other European countries as well, and in particular obviously here, because many of these ships, as you mentioned, are based, NGOs are based in Germany, or the captains are German. So this is how this debate has unfolded. It's important to stress as well that there isn't so far a common European approach to all of this. European Union leaders have struggled time and time again to find common policies when it comes to migration, in particular, for example, redistributing migrants over the different countries, because there are some countries that have flat out simply said they reject the idea of welcoming migrants, whether others have instead said that they are willing to take in their fair share of migrants.
Okay, Thomas, let me find out from you. There haven't been any easy solutions among European countries, but Germany is looking at a so-called coalition of the willing. Tell us about this coalition.
That's correct. So on the one hand, again, just to add to the previous point, there has also been a big debate among the people here in Germany as well. We've seen protests here in Berlin of people supporting this German captain, people asking the German government to try and make more efforts to find a common European solution, and that is precisely where the focus will lie also in the next few weeks, in the next few months, trying to find a common solution. When you talk about this coalition of the willing, this has been a proposal launched by certain German politicians as well, where they say, well, if all European countries are not on the same table, if all European countries do not want to find a common solution, then at least some countries should be able to form a coalition on a case-by-case basis that have similar interests to deal with some of the most urgent matters. One of the most urgent matters, as I mentioned earlier, is precisely trying to deal with those migrants that are brought by these vessels to ports, for example, in Italy or in Malta. And some countries, 5 or 6, have said that they are willing to share the burden and bring some of these migrants in. This is what German politicians have meant when they talk about a coalition of the willing. In other words, countries that have similar interests getting together to solve some of the questions that Europe has when it comes to migration, even if that means that not every other country is involved in that as well. People say that this could be effective in the short term to deal with some of these particular cases. What to do with 50 migrants that have been brought by a vessel? What to do with 100 migrants that we've been brought to one specific port? But there are questions as to this is the way forward at the long term, because one of the key principles at the European level is the principle of solidarity. And if only a few countries deal with this issue, whereas others don't, then that principle of solidarity is not being upheld at the European level.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas, for that enlightenment.